I glanced at my phone and noticed it has been 46 minutes since I went to bed. As usual, I can't sleep again. A sleepless night for me typically comes with a combination of my itching eczema, the regret of consuming caffeinated beverages, and the hyper-analysis of my religious drama. Every once in a while though, I get tired of thinking about the hypocrisy of Catholicism, and I spice things up with new thoughts to fixate on for hours on end. In this particular night, the topic of success inspired many thoughts. As usual, the dryness from the air conditioning exacerbates my skin condition and I start scratching my arm as I think. Success. My definition of success in life has always been obtaining stability and satisfaction in a long-term context, so I needed not to toss and turn coming up with a reasonable definition. Instead, what intrigued me was its attainment. How exactly do people become successful? What commonality aligns successful people? In a strange turn of events, my sleep-deprived brain quickly came up with an answer to these inquiries. It's sacrifice. All success is built on a willingness to sacrifice. Not in the demonic ritual sense as most people would assume though. I mean sacrifices in giving up decades of your youth to get a well-paying job, spending a lot of money to invest in a business, or even surrendering the privacy of your personal life in the case of many stars and pseudo-celebrities. It can be as small or as devastating of a price to pay depending on your circumstance. Success is an achievement of privilege in exchange for something valuable. Right? Well, for a moment I remembered that Nepo billionaires exist. Descendants of the ultra-rich who will never have to sacrifice anything to gain access to this life of stability and satisfaction. The world is their oyster, they are the exception. Except when you think about it, they're kinda not. Because even in the inherited forms of success, an element of sacrifice is still involved. What makes these cases of elite children different is that they required not a form of self-immolation, but rather a practice of sacrificing others. I find it quite difficult to think of any person of billionaire status whose success did not involve a form of exploitation done by themselves or somebody in their lineage. The list is extensive and is ever-growing with the normalization of abuse for the sake of turning a profit. I was still scratching my arm at this point and I almost forget until my fingers felt moisture from what I can only assume is blood already. I turn on the lights and surely enough, it is blood. I get up to clean the wound and my red fingertips as I was still immersed in my thoughts. I am baffled as to why this option to destroy others appears to be the most effective plan for prosperity. Is this sacrificial act the most rewarding path in capitalism for those without their Nepo cards? I think yes. This methodology of reaching success by strategically stepping on others is the easiest way with enough willingness and knowledge of the system you aim to climb. If you can justify your actions through legality over ethics at all costs, there will be no time wasted, money necessary, or privacy needed to be surrendered. It is as convenient as ordering a burger from McDonald's during the genocide. As easy as buying Starbucks from the underpaid cashier and as tempting as prompting ChatGPT for literature and art during the countless protests and writers' strike. I guess the reason why exploitation is so common and easily perpetuated is the way it is packaged in convenience, placed in a pedestal for the public to gawk at and wrapped neatly with a bow to cover the bloody fingerprints. What harm can a cheeseburger do, right? As we have seen with billionaires, the system is built for this and is practically taunting you to partake in it in exchange for success. It is quick, practical, and as discreet as you need it to be with the right strategy. When you place a success topic in a macro, non-individual scale though, you get colonialism. I feel the need to bring this up as I think that colonialism is the most extreme form of this mass sacrificial act. You are essentially destroying the native structure of a massive group and using to obtain people, resources, and land to propel your status as a nation. If you get successful enough, like say the Europeans were in their quest to colonize the land of Native America, you are bestowed the privilege of putting it all behind you. The blame of being the colonizer will slowly die off with the passing of time, along with all the history and people that were erased by your wrongdoings. I find that the US has many similarities in my country, the Philippines. Granted, we were colonized by them at some point actually. Although the events of colonization were different for America and my country, it is undeniable that in a similar way, the sacrificial act of the Europeans destroying our native civilizations reshaped the future of each nation for good or for bad. Through my experience with existence as a Filipino though, I can say with confidence that the latter holds more truth. Colonialism has truly damaged the psyche of my country in ways persisting through the passing of generations. You see it in the skin-bleaching ads, the rampant corruption, the trouble with literacy, the conservative Catholicism, and the inflated sense of nationalism that led to the election of our deadliest leaders. I always find it interesting to think about the events of the pipeline of the Philippines from queer-liberated pre-colonial islands to conservative vocalist nation. It has been centuries since the passing of Ferdinand Magellan and his colonial troops, yet here I am, spiraling at the thought that the bigotry they imbued into our culture will outlive me in the foreseeable generations after. As the thought of religion creeps in, I am once again filled with many questions. Is God truly all-powerful if he needed to sacrifice Jesus to save us? Is our belief on his omnipotence an effort to compensate for the lack of control we have of our own lives? Do I only exist to turn a profit? Why did I drink coffee today? I head to the kitchen and hesitantly took a melatonin gummy, fully aware the morning drowsiness from it would make me crave a sachet of instant coffee the moment I wake up, perpetuating the vicious cycle of my solo podcasts. It was a reasonable sacrifice though. I nailed the exam the next day. While I don't exactly remember much after the sleep candy, I can recall asking myself one last question before falling asleep. What would I be willing to sacrifice for success?